course, I am a proud member of two of the committees that have presented this afternoon. First, I want to congratulate the chair and members of the County Public Accounts Committee and the chair and members of the Roads and Transport and Housing Committee, of which I'm also a member. Madam Speaker, being a member of these two committees, I have to admit that I have learned a lot. We have a lot of challenges in our counties, and they have become apparent in those sessions that we have held with the Public Accounts Committee. There could be some challenges we face as committee in terms of our effectiveness to deliver real-time solutions to the problems facing our counties. And sometimes the argument is made that maybe the committee such as the Parliamentary Accounts Committee, the CPAC committee, is a mortician, that we deal with matters that are historic. But in my view, there are things that we have achieved in that committee that I want to point out that have made me extremely proud to be a member of that committee. The first one, Madam Speaker, was the question of KRA levying penalties on late releases or payments of the statutory deductions from county governments. I remember it was in a session of the Parliamentary Accounts Committee that we asked the rationale. I think it was in the presence of the leadership of the KRA and the Treasury, when we were asking what sense does it make for you to levy these penalties on late releases or payments of those statutory deductions, when we know that it is occasioned actually by late exchequer releases by the Treasury itself. I have seen the light go on. I don't understand why, because I don't think I've spoken nearly even 1 minute, and I saw my colleague here, the leader of majority. Perhaps, Madam Speaker, I can be given direction as to what time I have.
I think the light means 5 minutes. You have 5 minutes. I think it's the 20 minutes which were given to the comments section.
Madam Speaker, I think I was confused by the amount of time that the leader took. I guess it's because of his position in the Senate, but let me proceed. Yes, Madam Speaker, we have also been faced with the spectre of pending bills before the committees, but I was happy that in front of that committee of PAC, the leadership of the former NMS, for instance, here in Nairobi, admitted that they were not going to load the 16 billion pending bills that were on the NMS books on the county government of Nairobi, that in fact that money was going to be paid from State House. So I can see that there are current issues that we have addressed in the PAC committee, and I feel very proud and privileged to be a member of that particular committee. We have also been trying to explain to the counties that we are actually friends and partners in the success of devolution, so that there doesn't need to be an adversarial relationship between this committee and the county governments themselves. Then from the roads, transport and housing, I was very happy when the committee visited the Mombasa County to discuss the question of the development or redevelopment of Buxton Estate. Because even here in Nairobi, we have many old city council estates that are earmarked for redevelopment. And because of the hue and cry in Buxton, we made a resolution as a committee that we would never allow what has happened in Buxton to allow in any other place in the Republic of Kenya. So we inserted ourselves as a committee, even in the current redevelopment plans in Nairobi, and I'm very happy that when I wrote as a Senator of Nairobi to the committee chair, Honorable Thangwa, to look and take up the issues in the estates in Ofafa, Jericho, in Lumumba, and in California, action by the committee has led to the institutions that are responsible for these redevelopments, especially the county government of Nairobi, listening to these residents. And even as we speak today, I received a message from the chairman of Ofafa Jericho, Juan Mungonda, saying that they have now been invited formally to actually have a conversation with the county about the redevelopment of Jericho, which is a positive product of the engagements with the committee. I have attended those public participations. I have had Majority Leader allude to them. And it is clear that there is an effort that is being made, at least by the City County of Nairobi, to engage the residents, and I continue to laud the governor and his people for giving an opportunity to hear the residents who are going to be affected by these developments. Finally, Madam Speaker, on the question that my Majority Leader has spoken about on EABL, indeed the petition that has been brought regarding the issue of EABL is a matter that we should all take interest in. That I have heard some of the submissions that have been made before the committee. As the chairman himself confirmed, the Capital Markets Authority appeared before that committee, and from the perspective of the Capital Markets Authority, there was no wrongdoing during the transfer of those shares. And it is also not something to be overlooked, my brother Majority Leader, that in fact this institution continues to provide Kenyans with a lot of employment opportunities. There are farmers in the western regions who are now growing sorghum and earning a living from EABL and barley, so that we should find ways in which we can resolve issues that arise when companies such as these that are major employers in this country and that contribute to the economic development of this country have issues in a way that does not scare investors or vilify companies that are just trying to do business. As a regular consumer of the products of EABL myself, Madam Speaker, one of the problems that we face in this country is high taxation. In fact, if you speak to the management of EABL, they will tell you that just these last few months, the sales have gone down because many people can no longer afford this product. And even when, Madam Speaker, protect me because I know there are Christian fundamentalists in the House. But the point that I am making is, even when we take the war on illicit alcohol to the villages, it is very critical that we do not send even those people who could afford the regular beer a few months back to now start pursuing or looking for this cheap illicit brew because they can no longer afford to buy products such as those that are sold by EABL. Madam Speaker, even the sales going down means a reduction in the taxes that could otherwise have been collected from these particular products. And it has an effect on everyone and on everything. If a company does not have spare resources, for instance, if their profits go down, then even their involvement in social and community projects such as the Tusker FC and the EABL football club that Majority Leader was talking about reduces. It is not possible for you to spare money for some of these projects if you do not have sufficient sales and you're not making the sort of profits that you are making. Indeed, I recall the good old days when East Africa Breweries football team, they would come to Kakamega, where I grew up, to play a team called Motcom, which was the Ministry of Transport and Communications. And big as they were, we used to whip them, Majority Leader. So the fact that the team is not performing as good as it did in the 90s does not necessarily mean that EABL is now a bad company.
Time up, Senator Sifuna. Senator Methu, you are either the Christian fundamentalist or